Good evening, y'all.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing tonight? All right, y'all. So we are live tonight on Riverside, which is the studio we use, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on TikTok. So if you see me looking up here, it's because my TikTok is up at the corner of my computer screen so that we could be live for them tonight also. So we're
Yes.
going to go ahead and start off, of course, with our disclosure before we start anything. TikTok, you may not hear this, but this is more or less a disclosure, just breaking down that this is an opinion based podcast.
Ying Yang the podcast does not own rights to any background music or noise you may hear. This podcast is completely opinion based and may include adult content, adult language, and verbiage not suitable for any underage viewers. Information found in this podcast may not contain exact accuracy as it is opinion based. Please listen at your own risk.
All right. So tonight's podcast is about current events from October of 2023. Now, if you're not
Crazy.
familiar with our podcast, let me just start by saying we do not do religion. We do not do politics for the most part. We may talk a little bit about something that's happened in politics, but we won't speak politics directly. We're not going to talk about who we're voting for on this podcast. So if you're looking for that, you're in the wrong place. If you're looking for, honest conversation, real conversation about what real Americans think, and you're looking for a little bit of opinions and probably a little bit of comedy here and there, we're pretty funny.
I was just about to say a little laugh.
Then you'll probably be in the right place. So I'm Ying. This is Yang. Together we make Yin Yang the podcast. So tonight's first topic.
Oh.
All right. So you ready for this? So just so y'all know, although we share them onto the page and stuff like that, but we have an agreement that we're not going to do a whole lot of research about these events besides the basics, so that we can talk about them on these calls. So if you know something about one of them, please feel free to join in at any time. We don't mind. You can hit on the chat on TikTok or on Riverside. If you put into the chat on Facebook, I don't always know right away, but I try to keep an eye on it throughout the podcast. So, mm. With that being said, first topic tonight is the Lu. And forgive me if I mispronounce anything. Again, I read a lot. I don't listen to the news or watch the news or things like that. I read
Mm-mm.
articles. So,
It is
Lewis.
depressing.
Well, and
Mm.
that's why we were very careful about the current events we choose. The first
Mhm.
one is a sad one though, and I want to start with just saying my condolences to the families that are involved. We're going to talk about the Lewistown, I think it's Lewiston, Maine mass shootings. Um, so what happened, Sheena, was on October 25th, a guy named Robert Card, approximately 40 years old, went to Just in Time Recreation Bowling Alley during a youth event and opened fire.
Yeah, I
He
heard about
then,
it.
yeah, so he then left there and went to a bar and grill. Now, the bar and grill has a name. It begins with an S, but it's a really hard name to say. So I'm not going to try to mispronounce it for the world to see. So he went to both of those locations. In both of those locations, he ended up shooting 18 people and injuring 13 more. So this is like the 10th deadliest mass shooting ever. So in the first location, it looks like he shot and killed 7 people. And the second location was 8, and then 3 more died at the hospital, which made the total, you know, what it
A
is,
lot.
um,
A
which
lot
is
of
18.
unnecessary, a lot of unnecessary dying. A lot of unnecessary deaths because it could have all been prevented.
So why do you say it could have been prevented?
Because if I understand my facts correctly, he had that's what I was told. And like I said, that's what I said. If I understand my facts correctly, he was in the military, correct? And
Yes.
he had seek previously some mental health care, like mental health There was some ball was dropped there where he didn't get the proper care for his mentality that he was seeking or that he obviously needed. So from that, stemming from that, not getting the help that he needed, um, whether it's therapy, treatment, medication, whatever he needed, he didn't get, what caused him to have this psychopathic moment and went on this killing spree. I say it could have all been avoided because I think this is one of the biggest problems we have in America because people don't take mental health awareness or mental health seriously enough. Because it could have been, if he had gotten proper care, he probably wouldn't have had that psychotic break and went on this shooting spree that killed all these people.
Now, so you that's more information than I knew. I didn't know that he himself sought help. So did he seek help and they not give it to him, or did he seek help and then he kind of like backed away because he didn't feel like they were doing enough as fast? Do you know that answer?
No, I don't know that far in depth. I do know he sought help and didn't get the help that he was requiring. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure
because like
who dropped the ball, but on which side dropped the ball. But obviously the ball was dropped.
right. So, well, with that being said, the only reason I asked that is I know that, and I was gonna tell you this because I didn't know if you knew it. Um, he in so January, February, March, in May of 2023, Card's son and his ex-wife reported to the sheriff that his mental health was declining and that he was starting to have like auditory hallucinations and things like that. So they
Mm.
reported in May of 2023 that his mental health was definitely getting worse, and they reported it to the local sheriff's department,
Oh.
and nothing was done. But it doesn't even stop there. July of 2023, he had coworkers that reported him to the local police because he threatened to shoot up a military base.
See, all of these red flags before the shooting, like nobody helped him the way he needed to be helped. People were reporting him that he needed help.
But how do you help someone that doesn't want help? That's the hardest part because I need you to think about, like, okay, for instance, you and I both have our own sets of issues. I think any adult that grew up in that time era we did has some form of issues, okay?
Yeah.
So, it's
We
how we
all,
got
yeah,
through.
yeah, we all
I
got little
blame it on the
problems.
water hoses they made us drink out of. That's what my theory. And not letting us
Yeah,
take the AC outside with us. So,
that water probably had a lot of chlorine in it.
girl, or lead or something. But anyway, so with that being said, it's like, we don't want them to make laws saying that we're forced to treat our mental health because, like, for instance, I've always been very open with any of my followers, anyone that follows any of my personal pages, that I have BPD. I've been very open about that with everybody for as long as I can remember,
Mhm.
because it's not something I'm ashamed of. It's a part of who I am. um,
Right.
I've
Same
taken
with
all the
me.
proper
I have,
channels.
yeah, I have PTSD and I have my own little battles, but like you said, I take the proper
But
channels
see,
as well.
but let me say this, and I'm going to give you the perfect point, okay? And this isn't to call you out or anything or nothing like that. But Sheena just found out she had PTSD because she finally decided to take what was going on with her mental health seriously. It's not like she's just known this for 20 years walking around, oh, I got PTSD. I know about it. I'm not dealing with it. Da da da. Now, Sheena, you just made that decision because things got too hard for you mentally and you wanted to change, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I
So
was willing
now
to
I
change
want you to
and willing to go
remember,
through the necessary steps to change.
right? And let me start by saying I am not defending Card, the murderer whatsoever. What he did was completely wrong. But I
Yes,
also need you to remember that this is a man that we sent into the military. This is a man who went into combat. This is a man who fought with those guns. And then we bring him back and we tell him, as American, especially as women, And this is something that needs to stop. But as women and Americans, we say, you're a man, toughen up,
And
deal
that's
with it.
not that's that's so not what needs to be done, because men just as well as women need to take care of their mental health, and they
Right.
should not
But
feel
they're
ashamed to
pushed
seek
into
out
a
therapy or
position.
anything else because they have, troublesome issues with their mental health. Like, it should be not be the stigma that is attached to mental health and seeking mental health and taking your mental health and self-care days, and just wanting to um just get better is looked upon. Like, even with employers, some employers be like, oh, I don't want you to miss work. Why are you gonna miss work? Even though they can't stop you now. But it's just a shame how you can be treated if they find out that you're going to therapy every week. So it's
Let me
just
play devil's advocate. Let me go off of what you just said. Okay. So you just said your employers, et cetera, et cetera. Because you said, if you need to, you should take a mental health day. Sheena, what happens if you take a mental health day?
if you don't have like sick time or PTO time, um, you you're gonna get dinged, and that's not fair. But some people like
Right.
me,
So,
I'll just take an unpaid day. At some point, you're gonna just have to put
but
yourself
now, but
first.
now think, yeah, but so that's what you're doing, right? So put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So this was a man who came back from war. Everybody ignored the red flags. Nobody cared enough to pull him aside and say, dude, like, let me help you. And he was pushed and pushed and pushed because he had to go to work, because at the end of the day he had bills to pay just like all of us.
Hmm.
I have bills to pay. If I decided to miss a week of work or a couple days of work, yeah, I have the PTO now to cover it, but what if I didn't? Oh, it looks like somebody is coming into our podcast, probably not on purpose. But whoever me is, you are
Yes.
now in our podcast. So if you speak, please unmute yourself. Me. Um, so I'm not quite sure who me is, guys, because their video isn't coming up, but maybe you'll see them. Um, but with that being said, this card guy, you and I don't know what it's like to be in the military. We may have friends, we know people that have, um, but you and I
Yeah.
personally don't know what it's like.
No, other than the JRTC I took in high school, I have no idea.
See? So with that being
No
said,
idea.
so you didn't go off the war, you didn't deal with all that, and then you didn't
No.
come home and have to deal with everyday life. And as things were getting worse for him, yeah, clearly people reported him, but did those people step up and say, dude, let me help you?
No.
So he just got to this point where he broke. And as okay, so I'm a Georgia girl now, and the gun laws here are really important to me. It's very important to me that I'm allowed to bear arms,
Yes.
but I also am in a stable state of mind. I think that they got to crack down on mental health and gun laws. Like, we're just letting people own guns that are not stable. You know, I'm not saying that everyone should have to take a psychological exam, but I am saying that at some point you got to look at things and be like, where did we go wrong? This man came
Yeah.
back from the military. Yeah, he had PTSD. At the point that you have PTSD from the military, I don't think you should have a gun.
Yeah, he definitely should have been watched more closely. And instead of everybody running and pointing fingers and telling, more people should have stepped in and advocated for him to get the help that he desperately needed. So yeah, I mean, I don't condone either what he did. At this point, he does need to go to jail because he need to pay for what he did. But it's just sad that it even got to that point, because all the red flags that were popping up before he even, took it to that level. They should have never even got that far.
Right. Um.
And that's the
Whew.
sad part. I mean, I feel sorry. I feel bad all around. I just feel bad for the people he murdered. Feel bad
Mhm.
for him not getting the help that he needed, so this couldn't have happened.
For
And
his son
yes,
that
and
tried to
it's
get
like,
him the help and tried to report him and tried to tell the police, like,
hmm
and that's my thing. Like, I know definitely he should be held accountable.
oh,
But do we
100%.
hold the police force accountable at all for
I
the
would
fact that they were
too.
told twice and did
Somebody
nothing?
other than him at this point, somebody other than him should be held accountable, and we should see how this story unfolds. But hopefully they just don't put
Well,
all the blame on him, and then not look at the deeper issue here is that we shouldn't let these things get this far to where it blows
right,
up. Like we always you see it all the time in the news, and that's why I really stopped watching the news because nobody does anything when it's festering, when it's
right. Well,
building.
and
They wait till
and
it
I didn't
blows
tell you
up.
this part yet, but and I don't know if you know this. And me is now in the chat box. They're saying the same thing, but I did already know that. On 10/27, he was found dead. It was self inflicted.
So he killed himself.
So, yeah, he took his own life 2 days after. I mean, he knew what he did was wrong, and he probably felt horrible for it.
No, I didn't
But
know
for
he
some
killed.
reason at
I
that
didn't know he
moment,
killed himself.
yeah, yeah. So it's not like he's gonna do time or anything like that, and that's why I think that there should be so many more people held accountable. Because,
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
so as someone that, like, I went through something growing up, and that person took their own life. And when that person took their own life, it kind of made me feel like there was no justification. Like, I never got the justification I needed for the things that happened because that person took their own life. I feel like somebody should be held accountable. And at this point, I think it should be
Hmm
the police that didn't do
Definitely.
anything two times in a row, twice in two
hmm
months,
Definitely.
and then a few months later, he really does it.
What is
You
that?
know, he,
That crime that's called when accessory when you didn't do the crime but you still get in trouble for it.
yeah, it's like
Whatever. So
accessory,
when
like,
you
yeah,
take
accessory
yeah
before the fact is what this
fact
should,
or
yeah,
what it
usually it's
they
like accessory
yeah.
during or accessory after the
Okay.
fact, or
Well, yeah, they
possession.
should make up a
Like,
new
there's so
one.
many
They
different laws
definitely
they
should
could.
be. Yeah, they
Yes.
definitely should be held accountable for not
I mean, I
stepping
didn't
in.
even know, like, I just found out, like, well, not just found out, but I found out in the last couple years that if you shoot somebody,
Hmm
you don't just get the murder charge or manslaughter charge or whatever charge that is. You also get a charge for possession of a weapon during the act of a violent crime.
Mm,
The police have possessions of weapons
right.
during the act of a violent crime. I know that we need to move on from this topic because we have so much more to cover, but I feel so bad for those families, and I wish there
100%.
was a way I could take away any part of their pain, because I could not imagine,
Right.
taking your children to a youth event and that happening, or just going to a bar and grill. And
Yeah.
from what I understand, some of the people in one of those locations were like hard of hearing, so they didn't even know what was happening.
I'm not.
And
I feel sorry so bad for all of their families, but I'm even like disgusted as well because like it could have been like the police need to be held accountable as well. I think wholeheartedly
mhm.
because these families shouldn't even have to go through this. They shouldn't even have to go through this, and it's just sad.
Right, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yes, let's go to the next topic because I'm getting really emotional about it. Just the more we talk about it, because it just doesn't make any sense. Why,
All
you
right.
know?
Well, the next topic is a little different. So we're going to switch gears 100%. So,
Coffee sip.
so the
The next one, if it's kind of
the
I
next
thought.
one's fun, guys.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was just about to
so
say the next one is kind of hilarious. It's kind of like, okay, we're gonna bring change the whole atmosphere with this story. Because when I seen it, I didn't do nothing but crack up. Like really, just
so all right, so guys, Philadelphia. This I'm gonna set the scene for you. Philadelphia, Walmart parking lot, middle of the night. You know,
oh
trucker
god.
comes and he goes ahead and he parks his truck there for the night. He has $750,000 in dimes in the back of his truck. All right. And
Oh,
now this happened earlier this year. I'll tell you in a second why, why it's recent news. But so he parks his truck in this Walmart parking lot and then he goes to go to bed at his house. And he has to get up the next day and drive this truck all the way down to Miami. All right. So he goes to sleep at his house and while he's gone, six guys in gray hoodies and stuff jump out of some vehicles and use a crowbar and a couple other items to break in and steal dimes.
oh
So they
Lord.
got away with over 2 million dimes, which is 200. So the total ended up being 234,500 dimes.
And
So that's a lot of money. That's over 2 million dimes. That's like 2.3 million dimes. They were throwing into smaller things. Now when Walmart workers come in the next day, there are dimes all over the parking lot, everywhere, and the dimes are like leading out of the parking lot. Like they spilled them everywhere. And then these very intelligent people um they take these dimes to like coin stars.
I'm about to say they're gonna get caught.
So coin stars have cameras and grocery stores have cameras, and that's where most coin stars are. But yeah, no, they go in and they exchange them out on coin stars, and also all the way from like Pennsylvania to like Maryland, they were hitting like different banks and stuff like that to cash in dimes. Um, so yeah, um, Sheena, what would you do if you came up on a truck full of dimes and nobody was around?
I would leave it the hell alone. It ain't none of my business. Listen, I'm trying to get into heaven. I'm not trying to do nothing. First of all, I'm not trying to do
Listen,
no crime. I got
I don't,
Adam to take care of.
I didn't
Secondly,
never
I'm gonna leave
read
them
nowhere
dimes.
in the Bible. I have never read in the Bible that thou shalt not take some dimes from the Walmart parking lot. I have that is I don't remember seeing that anywhere in the Bible. And I mean,
It's in my Bible
I'm
because
not
I ain't
perfect.
messing
Like
with them people dimes.
this is that in Psalms? Is that like a song? Is that a hymn?
Thou
Stay
shalt
away
not
from the
mess with them dimes.
dimes.
That's what that is. Thou shalt not mess with them dimes. Leave them people dimes alone.
Listen, how do you explain that to somebody? Because I feel like if my if my partner came home tomorrow and he was like, "Hey, babe, will you run me to the Coin Star? I have $900 in dimes." I would be like, number one, we're not going to Coin Star to cash in dimes because they take a percentage.
Listen, I wouldn't even go to Cornstar. My little dumb butt probably be at the car dealership trying to buy a Chevy with dimes. I'm like, do y'all take
See,
dimes?
that's oh
Cause
gosh, that is
I
funny.
love Chevys and I need the new Impala. Cause I need the new Impala in my life. So I'm gonna be right there at the Chevy dealership and be like, listen, I stayed up all night and rolled them for you. Okay, I got them rolled, but I'm gonna slide these dimes across his desk. Can I get them keys?
Listen, I would be the most low key dime thief in the world. I would just have dimes around my house. I would just roll up some dimes every week and just deposit one roll of dimes into my account so that no one knew I had the dimes. Like,
I guess we different, you know.
oh.
I'll be at the Chevy dealership with the roll dimes stacked this high on the desk. Let me get my key, please.
Oh man, that is so funny.
Oh
So
my
I
god.
apparently I'm a lot better at, um
Covering up
not
crime.
spending stuff. Hey. Um might be legit, but no, I was just gonna say about not spending money right away. Because if
Oh
I
yeah.
got $234,000 in dimes, I definitely would not run to the Chevy dealership with my dimes. I might see if I could pay for a cruise with dimes.
At this point, groceries. I'll also be in the darn grocery store.
Listen, but you gonna spend all your money in the grocery store if you
Tell me about it.
listen,
I don't even
that
want to
that
eat.
234,000 is only gonna feed your family of five for, the year.
It's that.
The way prices are going now.
They steady going up.
Oh, okay.
That's
All right. So
funny.
that was
Yeah,
fun with the dimes, y'all. All right.
that was
We're
really
gonna go
funny.
ahead and we're
So,
gonna go
oh
ahead and move
wait,
on
did
to
they
the
catch
next
him?
top.
Did they catch
Oh,
all of them? I was laughing so
so
hard about the
listen,
I didn't even figure that out. Did they catch him?
I don't actually know if oh yeah, that's why it's more it's news now. So not only did they catch them, but they've been able to so now they're all being prosecuted. They caught all four of them, but the reason it's recent news, as of last month, that's when the total came out. So they were trying to calculate all the different banks they hit, all the different coin stars they hit, and all the different places where dimes have been, given and stuff like that. And that's where they had to wait till they had that total in order to prosecute. So,
Oh wow.
um, and me is attempting to come back
Maybe.
into, um, so me, if you're not going to come on video, I'm going to remove you from the call. You can go into the chat if you want, but you keep coming in under the wrong link. Um, you can also chat me your email and I'll send you a guest link so that you're just not coming into the video. Um,
That's crazy. You just think about the Walmart workers that had to sweep up them dimes. Or you think like the investigators had to
listen,
who had to sweep up them dimes? Because I know they pocket
I
some
don't
of them
know, but let
dimes.
me say this because I think this is really important and I really want to know this. If you was the Walmart worker and you had to go sweep up, so you not finna keep none of them dimes.
All of a sudden, yeah, some of them
They ain't put
dimes.
none of them dimes in their pocket.
If
See,
I
I
had to
don't think
sweep up
it's
the parking
fair.
lot, I'm gonna
See,
dump
I
all
don't
them
think it's
dimes
fair
in
that
my
we charge
pocket.
them. I don't think it's fair that we charge them the $234,500 when probably at least $50 of that was taken by the Walmart workers when they was cleaning up. Cause ain't no way, man. If I pull up to a pile of dimes,
I'm
I'm taking
scooping
a
some
pile
of
of
them.
dimes.
I put them in my pocket. I'll probably be
I'm
ching chinging on the way
listen.
back to the
I'm
car or something.
I'm one of them people to pick up pennies in the parking lot when I see them. So if I see a
Mhm.
pile of dimes, it's on. I mean, that's a good day for me. I mean, there's no telling,
I'll
you
be like,
know.
I ain't know where it came from. I'll probably thank you, Jesus. Pick them up.
All right,
Mm-mm.
so that's so funny.
Yeah, that is funny. Oh my goodness, the dimes. Um, I guess
All
the
right.
next one is probably not as funny. We might be able to make it funny though.
So no, the next one's not funny, but it is a serious conversation, and it's a conversation we need to have. So
Yeah, tell me about it, cause no, I don't do politics. And when I started looking at it, I was like, oh God, what do our government got us ass into now?
all right, so this is all right. There was a settlement agreement. Um, not a monetary one. There's no money involved. So let me start by explaining that.
Okay.
So this settlement agreement was for the people about 5 years ago, if y'all remember, when people were crossing the border, they were separating the parents from the children. They were taking the parents in and they were prosecuting them for crossing the border without permission. Um, and when they were separating these families, they were putting the kids inside like these Walmarts. Here we go with Walmart again, man. Walmart stays in the news, man.
It do.
Um, right? So, Walmart was all the kids were being held at these Walmarts and they were being separated from their parents. Their parents were being prosecuted for crossing the border. It was a really big problem. Um, and so during that time, when all these people were being separated, the kids had nowhere to go. Some of them were good sponsors. It'd be like long lost relatives. People were claiming that they knew these families. These kids were going all over the place. And at some point, our government recognized the fact that this shouldn't be happening. And when we recognized that, we decided that we needed to be able to bring these families back together. And that's what the settlement agreement is, more or less. The settlement agreement is to rejoin the families. Um, and give them like work authorization in the US and housing benefits so they can stay here. However, and like mental health, free mental health for the children and the parents that went through the trauma. So that's what the settlement agreement is more or less to welcome them into America and try to help them better their life now. However,
After they didn't rip them from their family and cause all this unnecessary crap.
right, right. Well, and even on top of that, like even to kind of go beyond that, um they they didn't document who all the children belonged to.
Typical.
So we know where every single one of our missiles are, where every military tank we
Of
have is, where every
course,
bullet
because that's
that's ever
dollars.
come in to
That's
this, but we didn't
dollars. They
document the
gonna know where
parents
that
of
at.
these children. And some of these children went into these camps as young as 6 months old. So they don't even know their parents' names. So here we are 5 years later, and there's still over 1,000 children not with their families still.
So we gotta do go on DNA test and kind of do a mismatch. Here go your kids.
There's
What?
some with like what they call extended family and the parents are missing supposedly. Then there's some that are still in foster care or in different housing units being held waiting for someone to claim them. But we have no idea how many people actually crossed the borders or how many people sent their kids with people they knew just to get them out of the situation they were in, you know? So,
Get out of one hellhole just to go into another.
right. And that's honestly the
Like, who
scariest.
bright idea was it to to separate from the who separate these children? I just don't understand.
I have no idea. I don't know why we would do that to them.
Yeah, why separate? I still don't understand why they were separated. If you didn't want them over here, then send them all back as a unit. Like you wouldn't be want to be separated from your family. See, that's what I can't. That burns me up about this whole story is you wouldn't want to do that. You want nobody to do that to you or your family or your children, but you're going to be in you because you're in that seat. You can make laws and you can do what you want to. You feel like you can do what you want to do, and it ain't happening to you, so you just gonna do whatever you want to somebody else. Not looking at them as a human being. We all humans. Just because you hold a powerful seat, don't mean you get to treat everybody any kind of way. That's just crazy to me. So now all of these families are just all will never be the same again. But it doesn't matter because it's not happening to the people who made that
Right,
decision.
but So
They
we
get to
give
go
them
home to their
housing and we
kids.
give them work
Is that
authorization.
gonna bring their kids back? Some
Right.
of
And
them
that's
are
my
not
thing.
never
Like
gonna know if they're ever gonna
five
see their
years.
children again.
5 years. These people were separated for their children for 5 years.
And you wonder, like, am I ever gonna see my child before I close my eyes? And have to deal with knowing that or having that thought in the back of your mind that you may never be reunited with your child, and you might leave this earth and never see your child or children again. Like,
See, that's
who thinks
almost
of
worse
this?
than losing a child, like, burying a child. Like I,
Right, because
you
you know
know,
they're alive somewhere. You just can't. You can't. There's no way to get to them.
see, and that's I don't think I could do that. I mean, most people on the podcast already know because we talked about it previously that that I buried a child. So, um, it's one of those things where that was hard, but I couldn't live. I couldn't walk or live my life right now knowing that my child was out there somewhere and I didn't know where they were. Like I would be one of those people where,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I lose my damn mind.
I mean, even like if my stepson went missing tomorrow, I would be the person out there funding everything, doing whatever it took, putting flyers everywhere in the world. I would travel to the depths of the world to make sure that I knew he was okay because that's just who I am as a person.
Oh yeah, I get that wholeheartedly. Because every night I close my eyes, I know where Adam is.
Right. And could you imagine, like, let me give you an example.
Devil advocate.
Let's say you and Adam decide y'all gonna go to Canada, right? And y'all cross over into Canada and they snatch you and they snatch him away and they say, "Hey, we're taking you to the police because we think you trying to break in and live in Canada. So we're gonna take you to the police station to prosecute you here with ICE, and we're gonna take your son over here to the Walmart, with all these other kids, and we're gonna put him in there. You're not fixing to put
I'm gonna
my
put my
child in
child.
in a
No,
Walmart jail."
that is you can let us both go back across this border, or you gonna keep us both here together. No, you're not separating me from my child. No, because no, I'm like you. I can't imagine opening up my eyes to something like that. I couldn't deal with it.
Mm-mm. So, what do you think would be a better way for us to handle that situation as they're coming in?
You mean like the is the children being reunited?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Oh, I don't even have an answer because it's just I can't get over the fact that how screwed up it is. How are you even gonna know? Like, it's just so hard because how are you gonna know? Like, you're giving that child or you're reuniting that child with the right family.
Exactly. Like, and then imagine that. Like,
Like, because you know they probably somebody dropped the ball, probably because they didn't care about separating. So you know they didn't care about probably doing proper documentation or getting some kind of system where they know who belongs to who.
well, and imagine. So they said the youngest person there was 6 months old. So let's say that there were 10 6 month old babies. How do you know what each baby's name is? How do you know which baby to send to which mother?
Right, right. Because you know you
If we
probably
didn't
didn't get
document who
proper.
these children belong to properly,
Right,
how do
you
we know where
probably
they go?
had to put a bracelet on or some kind of strong documentation. How
I mean, they could have used the Chuck E. Cheese method for all I care. I mean, stamp the kid's hand, get the parents with the same stamp, something. So
something.
you mean to tell nobody even had an Excel spreadsheet or like a camera or nothing?
Nothing. Even the doggone people when you give birth in the hospital have a better system of keeping up with the babies after they being birthed to get them back to the mama better than what they did.
Listen, I mean, I'm not trying to like talk anything up, but and I'm not the hugest fan of this program, but we could use Yardi to track all these people. Like Yardi is a property management system. We still could have used it to track, what child belongs to what family. I mean, because you can input occupants with, the tenants. So, I mean, there could have been some system put in place. If nothing else, like handwritten pieces of paper,
Would have been
anything could have
better.
been put in place to make sure that these children belong to the right people and that they got returned to the right people.
Mhm.
So now we just have these children out here floating, and a lot of them come from a place where English is not the first language. So if they're getting put into like foster homes where English is the first language, they're probably scared. They have no idea what's going on.
Mhm.
All their friends or cousins got returned to their parents and they didn't.
And they're in the
Like,
shock. They probably just mentally not in shock about the whole situation. And like you said, scared.
I don't know what I would do.
I can't even imagine.
So
We
what
gotta
would that
as
be?
a universe, we have to do better with treating each other better. I mean, we treat people. I mean, I'm not saying everybody like we, as in me, you. I'm talking about like everybody as a unit. Like we need to come together and do something better. Something got to change because the way certain individuals treat other individuals is just a shame.
Right. Well, and you don't even have to have compassion or empathy to understand how wrong or how screwed up this was.
Yeah.
You know, I could not, wasn't aren't these Walmarts that we put all these kids, isn't that considered a concentration camp? Isn't it when
Mhm.
you house so many people in one area, it's considered a concentration
Mhm.
camp? So we pulled a Hitler on these kids.
Mhm.
And, I'm not saying that to stir anything up or, we all know I try to keep a low profile. The government already knows that I speak my mind too much. So,
Right. We're
they,
already on the lookout. Watch
yeah,
our back.
they already know that we might know some aliens. So, no, I'm
Aliens
just
gonna pull up in the
kidding.
Chevy spaceship.
The government just be bothering Yin Yang the podcast, but so,
Right.
but for real, like, how screwed up of an individual or a person are you if you're okay with the fact that we just put a bunch of kids in a Walmart and told them to survive? And I'm not saying we didn't feed them. I'm not saying we treated them badly. There's no huge reports. I mean, there's one or two reports here or there about somebody getting hurt and things like that. But they weren't treated horribly, but they were ripped from the only family they knew and put into a place where they just had to be there without their parents and without their families. And
Mhm.
for a lot of them, without their siblings, because they were splitting them up left and right.
Right. Basically forced to stay in this makeshift jail for something they don't even
Right.
understand, so they know they didn't do, and they don't know if
And they
they're
wouldn't let
ever
us
gonna.
in.
Yeah, and they don't even know if they're gonna see their parents again. The parents don't even know if they're gonna see the child again, and it's just like a non-ending cycle. And now all of a sudden you want to settle and reunite.
Hmm. Well, and then, like, yeah, they wouldn't let any news in. They wouldn't let us see what was going on with these kids. We weren't hearing the best things about these safety areas that I don't know what they were trying to call them, but they were
So I mean,
concentration
what was
camps
the point? Like, I still don't understand the point.
because they wanted to press charges on all the parents that snuck into the country. All
So
the
at
people
what
that
part did
broke
we just
into America,
stop?
they wanted to charge all the parents, but the kids couldn't be charged because they're minors and they're not the ones that broke in, they were brought in. So we couldn't charge the minors, so we were just gonna what? Put them all in Walmarts and leave them there forever? Like they turn 18 and
Like,
move out?
yeah, the whoever came up with this idea like really needs to be slapped. But I
That's
didn't
your
say that.
boy.
But I didn't say that.
That's your
Um,
boy did that. You
yeah,
know.
okay. I didn't say that. Sorry, I didn't say that. It wasn't me. But listen, this makes no absolute sense. So, what point? Whose bright idea? I guess probably the same person had that same bright idea to like not do it how we used to do it when people come over was it illegally, we ship their asses back to the country that they came from together as a unit
So
back at once. So
that,
what
I
part
mean,
did we
that
stop doing
ultimately
that?
was the understanding, but the issue became as they started coming over in these large mass groups. And they're still doing it. I mean, I'm not I am not for or against people coming into America.
Yeah, me
And
neither.
for multiple reasons. I don't, if you want to come to America, I'm cool with that. I don't care. Come here, work hard, live your life.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
do you?
I'm not cool with the fact that people can come over to America, make no attempt to become productive members of society, and then I'm paying with my taxes for their family to, either live or for paying for them while they're in jail. And that's what people don't pay attention to. Like the people that we're locking up, we're paying for them to live. If we're paying for them to live, why don't we pay for them to live as productive members of society? If they don't want to, instead of housing them in our jails or housing them in our housing developments, if they don't want to work and they don't want to do things that way, then tell them to go home. And I get that some of them are seeking asylum and things like that, but seeking asylum still means that you have to do something positive for yourself. You know, I every people that know me know my second book is called The Art of Healing. That was walking away from a domestic violence relationship, a relationship that I thought was going to be a forever thing. So when I walked away from that relationship, that forever, um, it was a really hard thing to do, and it's really hard to walk away from a really traumatic situation and seek asylum. But that's what I did. I left and I seeked asylum, and in seeking asylum I didn't just throw in the towel and say, okay, I'm gonna live on government housing, and I'm going to ask for this and ask for that. I went and got a job, and I built myself back up, and I got everything I needed to be able to walk away from that situation and still live my life. That is what seeking asylum is supposed to be. Seeking asylum is not supposed to be going to another country and living off the government.
Let's
And
see
if
how
that's a
well they
welcome
could
thing,
live off
then
of the
I'm gonna start
government.
traveling and do it everywhere. Like, I didn't know that was a thing that we could just do. So I think we start with Australia, and just because 'cause I'd like to meet a kangaroo. So let's go over there and get us a government house, and then we'll move on to, like, Spain, but that's what I'm saying, like, that's where all the problems kinda came in at. However, the flip side is I don't think that we should close the borders to everybody, because a lot of the people that I've met over the years, between tenants and neighbors and different friends that I've had and stuff like that, all of those people are some of the hardest workers I've ever met. There's some really good people that come from different countries, and not just the hardest workers, but some of the best people. They have really good morals, they have really strong family values. They add a part of America to America that we don't even realize. Go down to Florida. Go spend a day in Florida. I promise you, you're gonna taste different kinds of foods and experience new seasonings and things like that. And people don't understand, they do add a part of depth to America. And in doing that, it's kind of like, how do I say this nicely? In doing that, it's kind of like we invite them in without inviting them in, but if you're the government, we invite them in because it's everywhere. If you look, America promotes itself, home of the free.
Mm-hmm.
So we're out promoting ourselves, and these people are coming here saying, "Great, land of the free, let's go." And as soon as they cross that border, you're arresting them and taking their children away.
Makes no sense.
That doesn't sound very free to
It's
me.
not. It's free to a certain extent. It's free when they want you to believe or have control.
Oh, Lordy. All right. One more topic. And this one, just so we're clear, this one I'm actually bringing up because I think it's funny.
I was about to say
And
we're gonna end on a funny note because
we have to. We have to. I mean, we've been serious twice tonight, and that's way too much seriousness for my brain to
right,
withstand as a person.
it's Saturday night. Remember we
Right, right. And we're
we
supposed to be
ain't
out.
supposed to be.
I was about to say we're supposed to be out clubbing, but I am too old to be clubbing, y'all. I'm
Listen.
just
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't clubbed in a long time. I don't even the closest thing I get to a club is like I might put on some heels and walk from my living room to my office.
I'm not doing that.
See?
Listen, next month, what next month? Listen, I don't even know what month I'm in. Listen, next week is my birthday, and I'm be walking my butt into 40. I'm not going to nobody's club. I might go to a bar and grill, sit down with a little sippy little nice meal. I'm not going in nobody club trying to shake nothing at my age. No, not gonna happen.
Yeah, so Sheena's birthday's coming up and mine is right after hers. It's a game
Hmm.
we play.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
but I'm
always.
not turning 40. I just wanted to put that out there, guys. I'm
Um,
turning 27.
I mean, if
Um,
I tell my real age, I'm turning, 23. But
you said 23?
yeah, somebody the other day told me I look like I was 27. I was like, shut the fuck up. I look 27. If you only knew.
Listen,
But
I can't lie. Like anytime I get ID'd as a person, as soon as they say, "Can I see your ID?" I'm like, "Thank you."
now I'll be like, listen, do you want me to lift this user this wig up and see my gray? Like the somebody seeing me. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be like, thank you for the compliment. Let me dig it out, cause dang, I wasn't expecting that at my old age. But I'm not old, y'all. I'm just was that lightly
You're
seasoned.
wise. I'm not wise. I'm super young, y'all. I'm in my mid 20s. I turned 28 in a week.
You're gonna have to own up to getting older. I owned it this year. I said I'm just gonna own it. I ain't even gonna fret it.
Okay, fine. I'll be 38. I'll be
If I
38,
remember
guys.
my birthday, I'm just gonna go with the flow.
You said if you remember your birthday, girl. When people would be like, "How old are you?" I always have to do the math. I'm like
Right.
2023 minus 1985. I'm
Listen, I stopped
so
counting after what 25, 26. You're 27. I'm like, why are you gonna count your birthdays? Okay, for a quick moment, like what birthdays really matter? You're 16 because you're getting your license. You're 21 because back then you could drink. Your 18th birthday because it was legal, to do certain stuff.
and then 25 your insurance was supposed to drop. Mine
So
only dropped like
after
a dollar, guys.
that, why are we even paying attention to birthdays?
Well, I mean, because you got to know how wise you are. You got to it's different levels.
Man, people tired because
Like
life is out here whipping us, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm tired. Tired. Get my ass beat. Okay.
so life has a funny way of doing that to everybody apparently.
Mhm.
It's just like a game.
Yeah, and I don't know this season of whatever we in. Um, we on some kind of new thrill trilogy thriller. Um, we on episode 200,076,076, but I don't know. There's a turning point coming some kind of way down the line when we end the season and start a new one. I guess I don't know. I'm tired. I'm just sick of it all.
Oh, okay. So we gonna talk about these inmates, guys. Okay, so 4 inmates, Georgia. All right.
No, it's your state, your neck of the woods. I'm gonna just lean
Yeah. So
back.
this is my neck of the woods. This is like it's like 80 miles outside of Atlanta. Pretty close to like Macon County, Cobb County, things like that. But so 4 inmates. All right, escaped the jail on
Okay.
10/16.
Okay.
All right, 4 of them. And they keep specifying that one of them was a murderer. I don't know why that's the specification. Like they don't even care about the other three as how
Like,
it
I guess
kind
it
I
was
kind of
like
read it. Like,
non-violent.
and yes, but no, they're not non-violent. Like one of them's like assault and battery with intent to kill. Like it's not. They're not non-violent at all.
So why are we not worried
But it's
about?
just this one murderer that we're really upset about apparently. But these four inmates escaped the jail. Okay,
Mhm.
and I need to put this out there because I feel like this needs to be said because they escaped the jail. All right. There was a damaged window. So there was a damaged window in the jail. There's no way that jail didn't know that that window was damaged. There's just no way. I have to do audits and checks on my properties as a property manager on a daily basis for things like this.
Mhm.
There is no way that the guards are not responsible to check to make sure these windows are not damaged.
They probably are, but who does? Like, how many? That's a trick question because they probably are responsible, but I can probably guarantee that probably they walking through not giving a crap.
Right, right. No, I know because they're overworked and underpaid just as much as the rest of us,
Right.
if not more. So I get that. So they get out this damaged window and then they get to this fence and there's a cut in the fence and they go through that and they get into a car and these four guys escape.
Well, where did the car come from? So this was definitely planned.
Right, right.
Because
So
why is
you
the
mean to
car just
tell me
magically
you
sitting
have
there?
four men in a jail and you didn't see the damaged window and you didn't see the cut fence and nobody noticed the car sitting outside next to the jail?
They probably cut the
That's
fence
a
on
whole lot of
purpose,
coincidences.
broke the window on purpose. They probably didn't broke that window on purpose. They cut the fence on purpose, and they told their buddy this was time we gonna check on out of here, so be by the fence waiting for me. Because it's an inside job for real. Because there ain't
I'm
no way.
telling you. And how I feel about this, and this is just my opinion, y'all. This is just my opinion. I need to say that. Full disclosure, just my opinion, okay? Because I don't want nobody to get butt hurt or offended or whatever you're going to say. If you offended, man, grow up because this is just real.
Right? These
If
places
you
be playing.
escape prison, the place that they are, their only job is to keep you there. If you escape, I think you should be free again. I think if you smart enough to go out of your way to escape the jail, we should just let you go back to work.
We shouldn't even waste our time looking for you. Because look, and you deserve that
Because it
escape.
don't make sense to me. Because it's like that's your only job. Like there has to be like, okay, you're the guard of a sector, right? So you mean to tell me you walking around this section all day long and you never notice that window's damaged?
Mm-mm.
And these windows, it's not like it's easy to get out of windows at jail, y'all. It's not. And I'm not speaking from experience. I've never personally been, in the cells and stuff like that. But I've had family and I have family currently incarcerated. So I know that it's not easy to get out of these jails. But I feel like
Mm.
if you're smart enough to pull off all of that and get out,
I want to take a
man, just get a
survey.
job.
I want to take
You
a
should be able to
survey.
be hired somewhere. You should be able to go ahead and stay home. And I only say that because you clearly took the initiative that nobody else took. You figured out the way to get out. If anything, we need to hire them to go in and fix the jails. We need to hire those people that know how to escape
Yeah,
to
that's
figure out
right.
how to make
Make
them more secure.
that's. I mean, I see your point. I still want to take. I was gonna say I was gonna take a survey. I want to take a survey of all of the guards that had the jobs. Like, what was your purpose on applying for this job? Just to have a check, or did you really, passionate about guarding inmates and keeping them inside? And like, how
You
many
really
people
think
would
that
say,
anybody just goes?
"Hey, they're
Think
just
about
doing
what
it
you
for the
said.
check"?
I
Cause
ain't never heard nobody in no kindergarten class say when I grow up I want to be a guard at the jail.
so
I have never heard that before. I'm pretty
so
sure
how
that most
why
people
do
that end
you
up being
so
guards are doing it out of necessity to feed their family
family?
and not because they grew up wanting to be a guard at the jail.
And so I'm not surprised that the guard walked past that broke window and was like, "Not my problem."
But listen, how can you say that? And I only say that because listen, I'm a property manager, all right? And to be real with you, if a window is broken and not reported to me, it's not my problem. But that's my building. And it's not mine, like I don't own it, but I'm the manager.
Well, see, you
My
get
maintenance man, I
compassion,
would hold to the
and
same standard.
I
If
and I
I
got
found
you
out
on
my
that.
maintenance man walked by a window that was broken 10 times, well, we gonna have a problem. Why didn't you tell me that window was broken? And that's I feel like if anything, and that's not just for resident safety, that's for the building safety. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's one thing if you don't care about the inmates. It's one thing if you don't, but you should care about my prison. It's your job to care about my prison.
It's
I
their
pay you
job, but
$11 an hour to care about my prison. I
no,
don't I
see,
don't know what they make.
you gotta
I
make
don't know what
so.
they make, y'all, but I know that they don't make enough. I know that like they only make like 38 grand a year. And I looked that
Listen,
up earlier today just because I was curious.
we
So
gonna be real.
38,000 a
We
year
being
is
real,
nothing.
right? We being real, right? So
Yeah.
at $11 an hour, I'm gonna be real. If I was that security guard, $11 an hour, would you say 11.50 an hour? Excuse my French, but that shit is not my problem. $25 an hour, it might be my problem. I might take a peeky boo. I might, tell
So you
you,
think that
hey,
prison
Amanda,
guards should
this
make
window over here
50K?
looks suspect. 30 something dollars an hour, I'm be like, oh, we gotta get the hot glue gun to fix this window or something. That's how people think. Like 11.50 hours, you're not paying me enough to care.
But if that's how you feel, you get a new job. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? Like, and
see,
the only reason this bothers me the way that it bothers me is because, all right, so like you said, 11.50 an hour, not my problem.
that's how people always think. I'm telling you, you do a
No, and
survey.
I
I'm
agree
just
with you. I agree
people
with
gonna say
you.
it's not my problem for 11.50 an hour. It's not gonna be my problem.
So if I paid you, so let's say I own the prison. Can you own a prison? Yeah, you can own a prison because it's private prisons. All right, so let's say I buy me a prison tomorrow, right? And I hire you,
You gonna hire me?
and yeah, I hire you, and I hire you at $30 an hour.
Oh, at $30 an hour, I'm gonna be like,
Yeah,
hey,
so I hire you at
Amanda,
$30 an hour.
come look
All
at this
right, and
window.
then four inmates escape. Can I hold you accountable? Because now I pay you better money, so now I can hold you accountable.
You gotta have it documented in my job description. Then yeah, you probably could.
I'm pretty sure that somewhere in their job description it says that you're not allowed to allow inmates to escape.
At $30 an hour, I'm making sure I'm dotting all my T's and crossing your T's and dotting your I's for what's in my job description. I still might not go outside my job description, but I'm gonna make sure my job description is taken care of. Like everything I'm supposed to be do is done.
See, I think, and I don't know if like guards are like penalized or written up or suspended or how any of that works. And you know what? Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll reach out to someone. Hey, y'all, if any of y'all know someone that is a prison guard
I was just gonna say, you know,
at
guards,
any
we need to get
prison,
them on here.
yeah, tell them to reach out to me. I just want to interview them. Um, because
Definitely.
I just have questions, and there's questions that only, or if you know someone that used to be a prison guard, that would actually work better because then they're not doing anything wrong by talking about it. Um, So yeah, I would love to interview them because I'm curious about this because I want to know like are the guards in trouble? The people that were on that shift or whatever. Like I don't know what time exactly they broke out, but if they broke out at night, is all of the night shift in trouble
Oh,
or just the
somebody
people
gonna
in
take
charge
the
of that
fall.
quad?
Yeah.
And we're all four men in the same quad? Like how long, you
Mm.
know what I mean? And so it makes me wonder like how long they plan this.
Oh yeah,
Like
I wholeheartedly think the guards is gonna get written up. Somebody got a write up on their desk.
do you think that a guard was involved?
Had to be. It had to be.
Right, because they purposely missed the window
Hmm.
and the cut
They probably
fence,
can't
right?
prove it, but it definitely was some inside. Some kind. They had a guard on the inside that was helping them out. Wholeheartedly, I believe that. Oh, they probably done got written up. The warden probably is not gonna take this hit all by himself, so he writing up somebody to go down with him. I know that for a fact. And yeah, somebody getting rid up. Whether they, still gonna care enough to not let it happen again, that can't answer. But
Um
it's definitely an inside job.
See, that's what I was thinking too. And I wasn't sure why I was thinking that, but the whole reason I even wanted to bring it up though is because it doesn't make sense to me that something like this could happen and then we're gonna give them another charge because they were smart enough to figure out how to get out. Now,
Yeah, because they
primal
they
instinct is
probably
to get out.
They probably, if they beat the system. Basically, they got them. They had an inside somebody, even if they had a guard working with them. That guard, they probably promised that guard some money or something to help them out. So obviously, you're not paying your guards enough to not be coerced by the inmates to help them escape. Um. So yeah, definitely that. I don't got my brain thought this now, but yeah,
Well, see, and that's so this is what I was kind of saying too is like, all right, so now they're going to go back and we're going to charge them for escaping
right. Because shouldn't did
and
it in the
add
first
time to
place.
their sentences for
Hmm.
escaping. But it's primal instinct to escape. If you put a dog inside of a crate, he's going to try to
So
escape. If you put a lion inside of a cage, he's going to try to
yeah,
escape. If
but
you put
as
a
human
dolphin in an
beings,
aquarium, they're going to
they
try
want
to
you.
escape.
Yeah, they want. As human beings, they want you to know better, not to escape. To just know that you did
But they've
wrong and
already
stay in
proved
your
they're
cage.
intelligent. They escaped.
But they should have known better that they shouldn't have.
But by the way, two of them still are missing.
So two of them are real smarter than the other two.
Yeah, two of them were found like still in the state. Like if I did escape jail, I think I would like flee the country. Like I would do that whole Australia thing where I go over there and I live off the government. But no, not Australia because they have extradition. So I would go somewhere without an extradition law and I would just stay there. I just it doesn't they're really intelligent because they're still on the run. But when they get caught, they're just going to go back. So
Hmm.
I'm not sure what it is they're trying to accomplish during this time, but they logically have to know they only have so much time to do it.
Right.
So, well, what y'all? Sorry, we went off on kind of a little bit of a tangent there about our inmates that have escaped. Two of them are still at large. You can look it up if you have a little bit of time, or you can go to our Facebook and see the people that are still at large. It's not my business. Like I said, I think if you're smart enough to escape, we should just let you get another job. And start working and contributing to society and paying your part of your taxes. Um,
We should just leave you the hell alone, huh?
right, right. I mean, and hey, if you're having a rough time, Philadelphia has a lot of dimes in the Walmart parking lots. Um, so it's head up north, out of Georgia. So,
Into Canada, where you might be separated from.
right, right,
Oh
right. Where we're then going
God.
to separate you from any child that may be traveling with you. Um, But yeah, just don't go too far north. Don't go to Maine. There's some things going on up there you're not ready to deal with. So that wraps up our current events for October of 2023. So for November of 2023, people reach out to me. Let me know if there's anything particular that you want us to discuss for November's current events as the month goes on. Don't forget about our contest we still have going on. And if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to leave them as you watch the videos, and I will make sure that we get back to you. So, with that being said, we're going to say good night. Remember, Yin Yang the podcast is live at 11 every Saturday with a new topic.
Right.
Two people, two
Two opinions.
opinions,
Real
real
talk.
talk.